Okay, recording started. This morning I'm doing the Aussie yen again, and I'm hoping the sounds are right. I've got somebody outside here mowing the lawn, so I hope that's not coming through, but we shall see. Okay, we're going to start off with the we're going to start off with the news for next week. We have, that's last week, had non-farm payrolls yesterday. It had an effect on the US. We got a huge beat, which was, I mean, that's what 190 expected, 250 they got. They expected 190, they got 250, but it's not really that a surprise that they beat it. They beat the expectation. It's not really that big of a surprise. The big one here really was the 3.1 average hourly earnings. That was quite important, and it just hit expectations, which was already priced in. There has been a move in the USD, but yeah, while we're talking about that, USD, we're talking about Aussie yen. BOJ monetary policy meeting minutes. That will probably be, boring reading. I struggle to get through it, but I've got to read it, so I will. Bank of Japan Kuroda speech. I mean, these guys are going to try and talk down the yen. The yen has been strong, but it's weakening significantly in the last week, and it will continue to do because of seasonality. That's my choice. That's my bias. It's my alpha at this point in time. The Cakes and China Services PMI, yeah, it could affect things, but it won't really be market moving. The market PMI, USD, all of that for the USD. Once again, we're talking yen here, but while we're here, it's likely to be a beat. But the big thing here next week, especially on Tuesday, will be midterm elections for the US. That will be huge. So we won't know about that until Tuesday evening, Wednesday morning. So we'll just have to wait and see. But that one could be quite significant. If the Republicans are expected to lose Congress, but maintain control of the Senate. If there's any, and that's all priced in. If any change to that, that could have a significant effect. But either way, it's likely to have an effect on other currencies anyway. Japanese household spending, the better, the higher the better. If it meets expectations, it's okay, but seasonality is in play at this point in time. Odd interest rate decision, there won't be any change. The statement, what we're looking for is a change of language. We're not expecting anything at this time. There hasn't been that much of a change of any of the data to really significantly affect the board's language. So I'm not expecting much there at all. So that'll remain. Performance of construction index. Anything below 50 is a down, anything above 50 is up. So we'll just have to wait and see there. I don't know, construction has not been that strong, but we have been getting some good figures out of the Aussie out of Australia. So we're hoping that'll continue. Yeah, blah, 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 Japanese yen, whatever. Chinese consumer credit cards in the US, whatever, that's US stuff, and if it beat, it wouldn't surprise me. China exports, yeah, that's important. I don't think it'll be market moving. I think the market this week will be mainly affected by this, and that fallout will take some time. The monetary policy, that's important too. That could be affected by the election, but we'll have to wait and see. But they'll do most of their work before that. The interest rate is not expected to be changed at this time. December, yes, but not at this point in time. It's not expected to be changed at all. The policy statement will be hawkish or dovish. It's likely to be hawkish. Everybody's been hawkish, but how hawkish? Or will it be a slight change of tone? We'll have to wait and see. If the dot plot comes out with an extra dot there for next year, the US will strengthen. This home loans and investment lending for loans is important. It's expected to drop but by how much. If it's a positive read, that'll be extremely good for the Aussie dollar, because that is the one area of concern for the Aussie, what's going on in Oz. The policy monetary statement, that will be important as well. Once again, I'm not really expecting any change there. We'll just have to wait and see. If these figures are bad, if we continue to get bad housing figures, you'll see that reflected in their policy statements. But at this point in time, it's something they'll be watching, and I'm sure they'll mention it, but there's not enough bad news. It's not that bad that it's going to be changing their policy. They've made that quite clear. The only thing that really would change their policy significantly, their direction, is if there's huge big misses on this. If it gets really out of control, then that could change. China CPI, well, it's manipulated anyway, but that's what the data they give us on. So if it's close to this, it won't matter much of a deal. And that's about it. So that's our news events for next week. Other than that, we will have, Okay, so weekly chart, Aussie Yen weekly chart, as we spoke about earlier, double bottom in the yearly take profit zone. Stokes, like I said, this is the weekly chart, yearly pivot points. So we've got a double bottom in the profit zone, Stokes divergence, and seasonality in play. I can only expect this to go up at this point in time. That's my alpha. So I need this to come back so I can get back in and take it up. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. It would not surprise me in the least if it just continued up, if there was very little pullback. So I'll be looking to get in at every opportunity, which I'll discuss shortly. But having said all of that, all the EMAs are all pointing down and widening. There's a slight move up here, but the EMAs, if you went solely on EMAs, where this has still got further to go, but off the double bottom in that area, I am now a bull. The 5/8 crossover, so that's what I'm looking at. So I'm looking to get into this at the earliest possible opportunity. This is the daily chart, monthly pivots. I've put a Fibonacci study on here. Here's this monthly pivot point. Monthly M2 is at the 786. I think, isn't that the M2? Yep, that's the M2. So that's the M2. If it got down to there, I'll be buying. Perhaps a little bit less confidence. I'd be extremely surprised if it got down there. I don't expect it to get down there. So we're probably looking in this area here. If it gets down to this area here, I'm in. So that's, what are those areas? That's, well, there it is there. 82.52, so 82.52 to 86.5, 80.65 area, I'm in. If it hits the monthly pivot point, central pivot point, 80.3, I'm in. So that's what I'm doing. This divergence worked a treat. Why wasn't I in it? And I was actually. I was in it. I got out because of the weekly pivots, and now I'm looking to get back in. I was in it ×2, and I'm out of both trades. I took profit, but I'm looking to get back in if this gets back. So that's the weekly. We're getting up here into an oversold area, but I'm still buying that. So wrong one. That's one of my studies I'm doing. For our last week we went from the buy zone down here. That was the last week's thing, and we were smashed through all the levels, monthlies, weeklies, everything, just smashed all the way through them. That should get us back to here, back to this area here. So I will be buying in this area here, 80.875. If it gets back to there, that will be one of my buy areas. I'd put a buy order in now if I could, but I can't because the market's closed at this point in time. Well, the market's not closed, but the MT4 thing is, server is closed, so I can't put any orders in or remove or alter any orders. So that's where that is. What else can I say about this? Yeah, if it gets to there, I'll be buying. If it gets to here, I'll be buying, which is that same area I spoke about, 80.3. Just weird, that one's different. Monthly pivot point, 80.311. 80.311, and this one is 80.306. That's weird. It's only a little bit out, but I mean, still, why is that? That's weird. Huh. Never noticed that before. Keep an eye on that. Anyway, so 80.3, I'll be in. If it gets down that far. If it gets here, I'm in. If it gets here, I'm in. This 21, that 4 hour 21, if it gets down to there, which is pretty much this area here, I'll be in off that 4 hour 21 too. So in fact, instead of this putting a buy in here, I might just put a buy with this tool here. Let me show you this tool here. There it is, and it's not working. Bloody thing. Okay, that's not working. Anyway, so it's around about this area here. So I'll be buying up there or off the 4 hour 21, and that's all I have to say about that. So thank you. Bye bye. How do I turn this thing off now? Where is it? There it is.